You know, if I covered a flagship gaming keyboard in the last video, I had to come back with a banger custom keyboard today, and this one, oh man. The Phase 1 65 from Openkey Design is coming soon to group buy on KBDfans, and you know what? I don't even want to waste any time. You ready? Let's go! The Phase 1 65 from Openkey Design is inspired by the 1970s Phase 1 alarm clock designed by German designer Dieter Rams. If you're even slightly a design nerd, this is a name you know very well, particularly from his time at Braun. I keep one of the modern redesigns of his travel alarm clock at my desk all the time. The final design of this board will include a badge that uses the outline of his glasses as a logo. I absolutely love this. Keep in mind today that even though there's a very high degree of finish here, this is still a very early prototype. It's a 65% layout. This copy is a modified keyless bottom row, so similar to like an HHKB or Sengan layout. We're using a 7U spacebar here along with two 1.5U mods on the left and a single 1.5 on the right with a symmetrical amount of blocking between the right alt and the arrow cluster. You'll need a pretty specialized or high-end keycap set to cover this particular layout. But they've also just announced a version with a more traditional bottom row, same setup that we'd see on like the KBD 67 Lite, so 3 mods to the left, 2 to the right, and a 6.25 unit spacebar. I would personally pick this one. Regardless of which bottom row you go with, the far right column is still 3 extra keys with a swappable blocker badge in the top corner. They have renders of this in ANSI as well as ISO, so it should be safe to expect support for both layouts. Also on the top, we have this raised LED badge that's completely customizable in VIA. It's pulled right from the design of the Phase 1 alarm clock, but sadly is non-movable. Had this been a functional lever type switch, I probably would have lost my mind. There's no per key RGB, no underglow. It does have VIA support, which is great because you'll likely want to tweak the layers a bit, especially on this layout, as it's missing a Windows key, which I do use for productivity stuff. Not only are the case edges smooth and rounded, the front piece is rounded as well with beveling and 3 strong orange LED indicators. Has like a very 70s sci-fi feel. The top piece is embossed with the less but better ethos. This stems from a recent keycap set release from Openkey, which sadly is already closed. It's also the subject of much hilarious nerd fighting in the comments over at KBDfans because it's not really less to add embossing that says less. Guys, relax. On the underside, we have a center-mounted weight bar and 4 recessed hex screws. No flip-down feet, no adjustments, just a 7-degree typing angle that does feel a touch high for me, but pairs perfectly with a wrist rest. It's a heavy board. Fully built, this copy weighs almost 1.8 kilos or just under 4 pounds on my scale. So despite arriving nearly completely assembled, this is a kit, and it's not hot swap either. With this being such an early prototype, there is a lot of hand soldering on the PCB, and KBDfans was nice enough to offer to solder the switches for me to help mitigate the risk of me damaging the board, and I was humble enough to take them up on that. Inside, we have a lot going on. The aluminum plate, pour-on gasket, and the PCB make up that assembly with little tabs coming off the plate for the gasket mount. In the lower, we have another pour-on dampener along with the USB-C daughter board and several pour-on bumpers on standoffs. The weight in the bottom actually comes from the case itself, as the weight bar is aluminum as well, not brass, and it doesn't really weigh much of anything. The top of the chassis is pretty complex. We see additional pour-on bumpers up top. We can also remove the front and rear faces, as well as the blocker badge and the light badge, so it's surprisingly modular. The plate they included on this sample is aluminum, full plate. As the compression on the chassis is similar to the GMMK Pro, the overall typing feel of the board is firm. The sound is fairly muted. Really nice consistency row to row, and the spacebar has a nice low end thok. It's a really compressed, firm typing experience, but without any vibration or resonance on bottom out, at least with this plate. If what you're after is a really flexy, really bouncy typing experience, this full plate configuration is probably not for you. According to the pre-order page, they'll have aluminum, brass, polycarb, and FR4 options with half plate options available for each. It looks like they use the KBDfans Daibooks. I probably butchered that. Their PCB screw and stabilizers on this, they all sound really good. So the keycaps you're seeing are the Enjoy PBT ABS Dolce, and the switches are Gap Black Ink V2s, which they lubed for me as well. This is bare bones, so neither of these are included with this kit. Realistically, if you're buying a board of this caliber, chances are you're gonna dress it with GMK keycaps. So sticking with that 70s sci-fi feel, we'll also hear it with the GMK Mandalorian set that's currently in group buy over at Novel Keys, and a brief comparison with my personal favorite keycaps for typing, MT3. Everybody always tunes out for these sound tests, so there will be very long, complete sound tests at the end of the video. In case you haven't picked up on the vibe yet, I'm absolutely in love with this board. While the typing feel doesn't line up 100% with what I look for, the build quality is definitely there, the sound is there for me, GMK sounds low and buttery. But the aesthetic here, cut it out. It feels like somebody designed a keyboard just for me. This coming on the heels of the M1 that we looked at recently has me really excited about what we're gonna see from KBDfans. They were doing basic geometry aluminum cases in bulk before the big custom wave hit, so now that the rest of the industry is catching up, KBD seems to be banking on on really unique designs, and I am super here for it. So this board is going on my desk, and I 100% am buying an additional kit in a different configuration as soon as they open up, and I'm tracking down that less but better keycap set. Again, there's no pricing yet, but I was expecting around $450 on the M1, and they surprised us with $300 on that board, so cross your fingers. I'll link everything down below. Big thanks to KBDfans and Openkey Designs for giving me an early look. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. If you watch the channel regularly, chances are you've heard me talk about Nebula. If you're not familiar, Nebula is a Streamy Award-nominated independent streaming platform built by me and a lot of other creators you've probably heard of, like iPhondo, Thomas Frank, and MKBHD, just to name a few. If you watch a lot of YouTube, you've probably noticed creators moving towards a very specific style of thumbnail, title, and editing flow. That's not on accident. We created Nebula, so we had a place to upload what we wanted without worrying about the algorithm. On Nebula, you can easily download any video you want to watch offline later. You'll probably find extended cuts from some of your favorite YouTube creators, and it's completely free of any sponsor reads like this one. And the best way to get access to Nebula is through CuriosityStream, the sponsor of today's video. CuriosityStream is the world's leading documentary streaming platform. They have thousands of really high-budget, high-quality documentaries on some fascinating topics. I just wrapped up Google and the World Brain. Google is trying to scan every book in the world to create a library for mankind. It's not their only intention, and there's a group of people out there trying to stop them. I don't want to spoil too much. It's pretty crazy. As you know, CuriosityStream loves to support independent creators, so they've got a bundle deal with Nebula where you can get 26% off. That's $14.79 per year, not per month, per year, and you get access to the entire catalogs of both CuriosityStream and Nebula. If that sounds like a good deal, head over to curiositystream.com/badseedtech to get started. Big thanks to CuriosityStream and to you if you're watching this. I know how valuable your time is, and this channel simply wouldn't be what it is without the support from our sponsors. All right, that's it. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Stay up.